Hi everybody, happy Tuesday. So today I want to do a little different video. It's in tribute to one of my good YouTube friends here on YouTube. His name was Bud, but his channel name was Rev Pork Chop. And we had a pretty close relationship just because he was in the Army National Guard. He served, I think, around 20 years. I was in the Army myself, the real Army, which I would pick on him about too because, military always picks on one another. And I think he actually did feel bad that he said one time he wished he would have went active duty. So then I felt bad for picking on him, but not for too long because that's the way we were. But yeah, I wanted to let you guys know that follow his channel or knew him. He did pass away at 1:45 this morning. And he has a son and two granddaughters. If you could keep them in your prayers and for their comfort and also for their salvation. And I know he really appreciated everyone who was praying for him. He was, he was born in 55. He was the same age as my mother, a little bit older. And so that would make him 69. Yeah. So, way too young in my opinion, but do you think he would listen? No, he would not listen. After he had gotten out of the hospital one time, he even got in the truck with his son and lit one up, and he said, I knew as soon as I did that my sister Misha was going to be complaining, and he always called me Misha. And I never corrected him. I was just like, they're old and set in their ways, because all the stories he would tell reminded me of my grandmother. She would tell so many stories, and I think the Lord knew that I missed that in my life, and he sure did have a lot of them. So he would tell me things, like I said, he was in the National Guard, and he would say, and he would pick on people, and he would always tell them, but I'm not prejudiced. I treat everybody the same. He picks on everybody. He told me one time he did have this one black friend in the Army, and they would get into stuff, and they were like the closest ones in his unit. And he also was a truck driver for many years, and I think his first wife and his son were in Texas or somewhere, or no, they were in Arkansas, but he would drive to Texas, and so he would drive back and forth to them. And he said one time he didn't get any sleep. He just went down and turned around and came back because she had needed something. I don't know. He was a very loyal friend. Like one time I had one of my YouTube videos taken down, and he went on a rant on YouTube. He said, that's not right. You shouldn't do that. He just always, he was a protector, and he looked out for people. And he also delivered the gospel. He would read the word, and, his Bible had gotten the smaller print to where he couldn't see very well. So I did send him, I had an extra large print one, and I know he really appreciated that. And he still used it and still gave messages. Which brings me to his channel name, Rev Pork Chop. He told all this on his channel. You can go back. I don't know if his videos are still up. Some he made private for some reason, but he would tell all these stories about how, on YouTube, so it's public knowledge, about how the guy that gave him that name said that nobody wanted to play with him because he was so ugly that they would have to tie a pork chop around his neck just so the dogs would play with him. That's the kind of crazy guy he was. And he would tell me a lot of stuff about, how we were both Ford people. He had a Ford name. He named it Blackie because he painted it black. And he told me his first truck, though, was a 55 Chevy. It had the column gear shift, those old ones. That was his first vehicle. And, he would tell me about some of the near-death incidents he had too driving truck. He would come around that one curve in Arkansas, and he said, it's a good thing the angels were looking out for me that night. We should have collided, but we didn't. It was never a dull moment with him. He would always say, that it was a tough job for me to try to keep him straight, because he would get mixed up at the end there sometimes with about his medicine. And he would always send me messages and record them on the voice recording in Messenger, so I could hear things. Like, he would be recording and the doctors or nurses would walk in and be telling him about his health and medicine, so I could hear it. So I could keep him straight later. I'm like, no, they told you to take 2. He was a mess, like I said. But he had COPD, but he wasn't eligible for a transplant because he was stubborn and he wouldn't stop smoking. And I would tell him that to his face. And he would eat jalapenos. The doctor told him no more spicy foods. And he said, well, I'll make you a deal. I'll just do it once in a while. But every time he went to Sonic, he would get the burger with the jalapenos or whatever it was. And, like I said, I could always say, just speak my mind. He never got offended. And he would say, I have broad shoulders. I can take it. I was like, okay then. And he would always call himself a good old boy. There's not many of them left. And that's not talking about being prejudiced. That's just talking about you look out for your neighbor and your friends and your family, and you try to do what's right. And he had so many, like at the end, he finally got his VA benefits, which he was so thankful because he really liked that VA hospital. He would show me the food and say how good it was. Like, he had like a big Thanksgiving feast the time before that he was in. It was just, he had turkey and cranberry sauce, and he was like, well, I don't know if I'm really going to eat that. And I said, it's good for your kidneys. Cranberries are good for your kidneys, because he said that he was in kidney failure, and they asked him if he wanted to do dialysis, but he said no. So he had his pacemaker turned off, and he didn't want any more, resuscitation or anything like that. He said he was tired, and the main thing he was worried about for many months was his little dog Jose, that little Chihuahua. He did not want to go before the dog because, nobody would really take care of it. And that was his biggest concern, making sure that Jose went, because he was like 17 years old, that dog. The poor little thing was all hunched up, and Sis Terry gave him a little gravestone angel thing and that lights up. He was so happy about that. And, then he also joined the American Legion. He was really happy about that. They made him the preacher of the chaplain of the Legion, and he got to know some of his buddies again and meet with them. And they're having a drawing next month for a pistol, and he put like 150 tickets in he bought for the raffle, and he told them if he won, he wanted me to get the gun. It's I think a 1910 or something, but it's like, because he was like, I just want to make it so that I can get you your gun if I do win. And I was like, don't worry about me. But that was him. And he sent me a card for my birthday, and I got to meet him twice. The first time in Arkansas, and the second time in Arkansas. First time was at this little museum that was called Museum of Memories or something. I have a video of it. I'll put this stuff in the description box. I'll link it so you can see him in it. And also we went out to eat in Harrison, And the day after we went out to eat, he had to go to the hospital. So he wasn't doing so well there either. And I told him, I said, don't worry about it. And I'm going to Branson soon, and I was supposed to go visit him in the VA home because he went into the home already. And every time, like, there was 3 times I go to Branson that he hasn't been able to meet me. And I told him, you'll do anything to get out of meeting me. And I know he would like me to say that, just the fact that he's not here anymore. He got out of meeting me one more time. Some people might think that's a little harsh, but that's our warped sense of humor. And he would say stuff like, we're off like a herd of turtles. And he would roll his L, turtles. I'm like, you're sure off like a herd of turtles, all right. But, it's going to be kind of weary for a while because he was always there, especially for Sis Terry. And he loved his granddaughter, Darlene, his adopted granddaughter, Darlene, on YouTube over at Patriot Farms. And he loved her dad playing Amazing Grace and anything on the harmonica and his old stories. And we were just kind of, kin in that way, that we had the love of the Lord, and we reveled in the old ways, and so I'm sure he is up there. I told him he could meet my ma'am, my grandmother, and I'm sure he's, worshiping the Lord. So I just wanted to let you guys all know about his passing, and I'll throw a few pictures up, and like I said, I'll link those videos in the description box if you want to go back and watch it with us cutting up at the museum and stuff. But be in prayer for his, like I said, son and 2 granddaughters, and I hope that you all take care and remember Brother Bud in a good way, and have a blessed week, and just, live your life, get to know the Lord, because not everybody has the chance to do so on this earth. Life is short. God bless. Love you guys. Bye. Take care. Everyone, so I had filmed this portion yesterday, so it would have been early Tuesday morning that this occurred. And one other saying that I forgot he always said that just cracked me up the first time I heard it was, it'll be okay, and if it isn't, I'll always think it should have been. At Colton's Steakhouse, I got salmon. And that's Bud. Or AKA Reverend Pork Chop. Now. See the present I got? A 3-piece chicken dinner. Okay, now open. Since he loves chicken so much. 3 kernels. Say hi, Bud.
Howdy.
Okay, Bud. They got you. Finally.
Yeah.
Throw away the key.
I do love y'all. I do appreciate each and every one of you. I do love y'all so much. You all are my family. God bless each and every one of you. Bye.
I know you'll be greatly missed by many. Rest with the Lord now.